Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us for the Tim and Jim Show. I'm Tim Sohn with Sohn Social Media Solutions here in the woods of Pennsylvania with the bears, the turkeys, um, not so many people, at least not in close distance, though. How about you, Jim?
Well, yeah, it's Jim Fuhs coming live to you from Marietta, Georgia, Fusion Marketing, doing marketing the Marine Corps way. And pretty excited this week. I actually am now a brand ambassador for Metricool, who is one of the vendors in the
Oh,
social media marketing world. So if you want to learn more about that tool, definitely hit me up on that and I can help you out. But excited to what we're going to talk about. I know right now we're having a little bit of technical difficulties getting our guest on, but we're going to be talking about messenger marketing. And Tim, have you been using messenger marketing yet?
I really have not. I have been looking into it here and there. I keep hearing people say that it's a great way that we can get more viewers for our shows. So I think it's something that we should definitely look at. But I really have not taken it too seriously that yet, although I know I should. What about you, Jim?
I actually do have chat bots attached to a couple of pages that I work with to include my own. I use ManyChat as a program, and I think one of the things that can be very helpful with the messenger marketing, messenger bots in general is they definitely have a higher open rate than email marketing. The stats, I know they may have changed some, but it was about an 80+% open rate on bots as opposed to about 20 to 25% rate on email marketing. Now, granted, that's going to vary from case to case, but one of the things that chatbots can really help you do, as an example, you get a lot of frequently asked questions that, and I always like to joke that, sometimes the answer is sitting right there on the page. Like, what are your hours? Well, you can actually make the bot answer those questions for people, so that's a great way to start maybe getting the bot to say, like, and because they opt in, you're able to build a list. But Facebook has been putting in a lot of rules in place as far as your ability to basically continue the conversation, depending on what it is. And I know that our guest is definitely much more of an expert at bots than I am. But that's what I've been using it for, and I've been using ManyChat. There's a bunch of different chat platforms. I know um, one of my friends, Kelly Noble Mirabella, has an amazing YouTube and Facebook group. It's called Baby Got Bot, that you can learn a ton of stuff about messenger marketing out there. So I know she's definitely one that does that. So yeah, so definitely would be interested. Those of you watching the show, whether live or on replay, let us know in the comments. Are you using messenger marketing? And if not, maybe what's been holding you back?
Yeah, we would love to know. So let us know down in the comments, like Jim said. So, Jim, how's your week been going since the self-isolation, the changes in our lives, and maybe it's been affecting some people's businesses? How's that been going for you lately?
Well, I think in some aspects, I've been extremely busy in a positive way. I
Yeah.
think just like the fact that we're out here live on video, I'm helping people, and I know you're offering to do the same. I'm working with my friend Stephanie Little, Club Pilates East Cobb. We've been doing some remote actual recording of her instructors doing workouts that she's then uploading to a YouTube channel, and she's sharing the link with her members so they can work out from home. And so really what part of this has been about is about people overcoming the technology. And if it's recorded, right, we can fix that, so you don't always have to be live. She's actually also we use StreamYard. I showed her how to, using the free version, she's going live every morning and doing what they call the like a daily quick video. And what she's doing is she's sharing a message through a Chrome tab from one of her instructors with like a tip of the day. And yeah, so I think it's great to see people kind of taking those incremental steps forward. Had a lady yesterday that's a Mary Kay representative.
Mhm.
She is talking about having virtual parties. We talked about how, if you want to have the interaction of seeing the people, you could use Zoom. And even in a sense, like we were talking about earlier, take, because you can have a free Zoom account. So if you have the pro account like I do, I may set up a second account with a separate email and use that as kind of, as I like to call it, camera two, like we would do here on StreamYard for the phone, and then flip the camera around and use the backside camera so that I can maybe make a demonstration of something. And so that's maybe a way if people want to use Zoom as well. I mean, each platform's a little different, so I think it really comes down to what is the goal of what you're doing. And both of us know, right? You can record in StreamYard. You don't have to go live. So if you've got that fear of going live, the only difference is, and Tim, correct me if I'm wrong,
Mhm.
is you have to have the basic version to download your video straight from StreamYard. Does that sound right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Not 100% sure, but just go to StreamYard and check out the pricing, uh, and they have a list there that outlines everything.
Right.
um, yeah, so it's been interesting on my end as well. On April 6th, I'm starting a program called Survive with Live, and it's a 2-month program. I'll put the link down below in the comments. It's very affordable, and we'll go over everything to create a consistent live show to keep your message out there, especially right now. Going forward too, of course. But while, I've found that depending on the industry, uh, some people are still continuing to do well, but they're nervous. They're not sure when things are going to fall off a cliff or if they will. And some people I know are like real estate agents. Like here in Pennsylvania, they can't go out and show homes right now. And I know it's very difficult to do closings. So
Now,
that so they,
now let
they
me
have.
ask you this, Tim. Can the realtor go by himself? Because this is something that I talked with a couple of people about yesterday in a Zoom call. So kind of same idea, right? So maybe they get someone like you to be that remote producer and they go take their cell phone camera with you sending them the link and they kind of do a video walkthrough of the house and stream that maybe to their Facebook channel so that people can take a look at the house remotely, because I do know a lot of places are closing down the ability to have quote unquote open houses. So that might be a solution for some realtors. If you can actually go to the property, you can use StreamYard, and definitely if you're in the Pennsylvania area, contact Tim and he can help you work out the semantics of maybe at least doing a virtual tour, so to speak, with the house. I mean, what do you think of that?
Yeah, I think if that's possible, I think that's a great idea. I know some realtors here in Northeast Pennsylvania, so I'll definitely check with them to see if that's possible. I know some of them already have what are called virtual tours for some of the homes that they represent, using, I believe, technology is called Matterport.
Hmm.
So that helps, but it's definitely not the same seeing a virtual home as opposed to going in person, because you're not, or the realtor or even a homeowner is not going to show uh, if the roof is leaking or if the basement floods or things like that you would not promote on your listing. Uh, so it's definitely a challenge. But I will find out the answer to that question. I'm glad you brought that up, Jim.
Well, if anything, I think in these times we really have to do what we can to help each other out,
Yeah,
wherever we are, because yeah, we're all kind of stuck in the same boat. Or in my case, I'm in a basement. You're in a different
me
basement.
too. I'm in a basement too, Jim.
Yes, I'm in the basement, but spending a lot of time. I think it's been interesting for me. I don't know about for you, but I actually have been finding that because we're not able to go out, using things like Zoom has allowed me to really build some connections that I probably would not have built if it wasn't for this, situation we're in. And I actually uh, see that as something that I want to think of. How can I do maybe more of that even once this is done? Because it's like we take for granted the ability to connect with people sometimes. And so what I do like about Zoom, especially if you're like in a gallery view, is you're able to see everybody, you're able to communicate, and I think it really helps to build that connection that short of actually going on in real life, which right now we're not able to do, is I
Yeah.
think is a great thing.
Yeah, definitely. And it's been interesting both in terms of life and work. Like our girls go to dance. Well, one of our daughters goes to dance class, and they obviously can't have dance class in person. So they've been doing dance class over Facebook Live, which is really cool. And they're offering private lessons through probably like a Facebook group or something private. And the other night over Zoom, we had a family dinner night and game night with friends over Zoom. We had a computer set up at the end of our table, and then we had a phone set up overhead hanging with yarn from our light. There's like 4 lights attached to the ceiling. And so that was hanging down looking at the game board. We were playing Life. So that was very cool. And also from a work perspective, it's been, luckily I haven't totally lost any clients. I know people that are, like say they're real estate agents. And like I know somebody who's a real estate agent and her husband can't work and neither of them can get unemployment for some reason. I don't know all the details. I just put a post up earlier and I said, how is this affecting your business? And the majority of people said it has killed their business or it's affected them in some way, which I thought was interesting because a lot of what we're seeing right now is people are like all happy and we have to move forward, which we do. But I think it's just like, it's a lot of it is being glossed over right now. But I think too that, and I hope not, but I think the worst is still yet to come. I think we're still early on with what we're going to see. What do you think, Tim? And I don't need to be all negative, but I think there has to be some sense of reality as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can't predict the future, and so I think each individual, family, businesses have to make the decisions that are best for them. But I would also say I think we have to be very cognizant of how our behaviors and actions can affect others. So yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much living in the basement, and I do think, and Chris, Stone has commented over on YouTube that there is going to be a lot of new tech that's going to solve some of the issues, and I don't think we're ever going to go back to the way things were before. I definitely see a change. I think companies are going to understand that, hey, we can do this remote thing. It works pretty well. There's things we could do better.
Yeah.
I think it's going to make businesses think of, and I've had friends that have done this in the past. You've got to have a plan. You've got to have, in a sense, a contingency plan for what happens when things happen. I've lived through hurricanes and, usually it's quick and it's over with. This is, something like none of us have ever seen. But I also think regardless of how long this goes, because we're all in this together, right? It's not like it's just one town that this is affecting.
Exactly.
That you have to, as much as you can, stay focused on what can I do to help those around me, but also with the longer term view of
Chrystabelle is here.
Oh, good. How can I
Chrystabelle.
my business? Hey,
I'm so sorry. I had the whole time zone wrong.
Oh no.
So there was a whole daylight saving change, and I didn't realize. I was like, "What? It starts in hours time." So sorry about that, guys.
We're glad you're here.
Oh my gosh, so embarrassing. I'm so sorry.
Oh no,
Oh,
no
no
problem.
worries. No
So
worries.
Tim, put her in the middle so I can, we always like to put our guests in the middle. There we go.
There we go.
There we go.
There we
Awesome.
go. All right. Well, we're so thankful that you're here, Chrystabelle. How are you doing?
Oh, besides that whole mistake,
Yeah.
been great. I'm feeling a little bit cooped up at home, but everything else is good.
Awesome.
Where are you located in the world, and how are you doing right now?
Yeah, so right now I'm in Mexico City. It's pretty. It's less of a craziness over here in Mexico, but I mean, still people are kind of staying at home, and we're trying to social distance ourselves and not go out. Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you.
I know.
So tell us about yourself. Tell us about what you do, and myself and Jim were both grateful that you had us on your recent social media online summit.
I know. Thank you guys so much. And a lot of people love your sessions, and it was absolutely amazing. And yeah, of course, a little bit more about me. So for those of you guys who it's your first time, you're like, who's Chrystabelle? And I'm actually the founder of Chrys Media. So that's my messenger bot marketing agency. We work mainly with high ticket service providers like coaches, consultants. We've worked with skin clinics and all those as well. Besides that, I'm also the host of the Hack Your Online Business podcast. So every Monday and Thursdays, I've got new episodes coming out about online business, which really right in the midst of everything that's going on right now, this is literally the best podcast you could possibly listen to. But yeah, every Monday I interview successful online entrepreneurs. Every Thursdays I release a solo episode. So go check that out. It's on iTunes, Spotify. Do they still call it iTunes? I have no idea now. I think they call it Apple Podcast these days, isn't it?
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Yeah. So Chrystabelle, how is before we get into you helping us all with messenger marketing, how has your business been doing in regards to this? Have you finding yourself busier?
Yeah. So here's the good thing. I was kind of lucky before the whole thing went down, before the whole coronavirus went down. We actually signed on a couple of new clients. So those clients are just keeping us busy right now. But I would say that just in general, a lot of businesses, the first thing that they do is they cut off marketing. I mean, it's just a way of life, right? People get nervous and they are like, oh my gosh, the economy, the recession, everything. So they just try to cut off, marketing first, and then, slowly on they move on and start cutting other things down. But yeah, we've been pretty lucky. So the clients that sign on, too bad if really paid us. There's no refund. So we're still, kicking off their campaigns and everything. So we're pretty lucky on that end. But yeah, just in general, I know a lot of my friends and entrepreneurs, who are, I've been in touch with, they're seeing their businesses kind of, in a lull stage right now. But yeah, for us, we've been pretty good.
Well, that's good to hear, Chrystabelle. So today we're going to talk about how to build relationships with your customers using messenger bots, which I would think right now would be a good time to do this while people are cooped up in their homes or whatever their situations are. So Jim, take away question number 1.
So Chrystabelle, what are messenger bots? I think people wonder sometimes, what exactly is this thing called a bot? Is it a person or is it something else?
Yeah, I know the word bot, it sounds scary, right? Because in the past we used to associate it with, how Russia was influencing the whole election and everything in the US. And so everyone's like, bot, oh, that sounds bad. It sounds spammy. It sounds impersonal. It sounds cold, right? But really what it really is messenger, marketing is just you marketing to your audience, you creating a relationship with your audience, you engaging your audience using a messaging tool like Facebook Messenger, for example, right? And Facebook Messenger is not the only messaging app out there. There's Slack, there's Skype, there's Kik, there's Line, there's a whole bunch of all these other apps out there, right? WhatsApp, for example. But Facebook Messenger is the one that is most commonly used around the world. 1.3 billion people are using Facebook Messenger around the world. And so it's really just creating this connection, this relationship. We talked about how people are, nervous right now. People are stuck at home. People are, not spending or cutting down on spending during this recession. So during the midst of all these things, if you are a marketer and entrepreneur and you're trying to still maintain a relationship with your audience, I mean, messenger marketing really helps you to just kind of, maintain that engagement, maintain that conversation with your audience, right? So that's what messenger bots are for. That's what they do. There are a lot of things that they do, quizzes, surveys, contests, we can go deeper into that later, but like, live, promoting your live streams, getting people to show up for your live streams, getting people to show up for your webinars, getting people to show up for your 5-day challenges and masterclasses and video training series. There's so many things that you can do with a messenger bot, but really at the end of the day, it's just turning those conversations into conversions.
And do you use a specific third-party tool for your bots? I know there's a bunch of different ones. I've used ManyChat. There's
Mhm.
Mobile Monkey and a ton of others. Is there one that you really have gotten to like?
Yeah, so I only use ManyChat. One thing it's because I know the tool inside and out, so that's one reason why, and also because it's really easy. But more importantly, there are a lot of new bot tools coming out, and I see them sometimes on AppSumo. One of those deals, lifetime deals. The key thing to remember is that while you're building these bots, Facebook. If we're talking about Facebook Messenger bots, Facebook changes they change their rules and regulation like they change clothes, right? Every single day, it's like, oh, new outfit. Here's a new rule. Oh, boom, that outfit is no longer in fashion. It's gone, right? So you have to use a tool that has a great a relationship with Facebook. And I know that ManyChat, the team, they have a super close relationship with Facebook, right? It's ridiculous. So every time Facebook comes out with something and people are like, oh my God, what does this mean? ManyChat, they literally have the insider way and asking Facebook okay, so does this rule mean that we can no longer do XYZ? Whereas with all these other tools out there, the other bot tools, I don't know if they have this close relationship with Facebook that is so important when it comes to messenger bots. So yeah, I use ManyChat. That's the reason why I highly recommend it. But if you're starting out, just think of it like you're not actually coding it. For some people, they're like, oh my gosh, chatbots sounds scary. Like I have to code it. No, it's just like how you don't have to code emails because we use email marketing tools like MailChimp or MailerLite or ConvertKit, right? So you don't have to actually code your bot. We use tools like ManyChat. So we talked about that. Yeah.
Awesome.
And we want to thank Chrys for watching over on YouTube and Marcello for watching over on LinkedIn. Thanks for being here. Let us know what questions you have for Chrystabelle about messenger marketing, messenger bots, whatever you call these things. Chrys says the robots are taking over.
Yes, they are.
So let's see. So Chrystabelle, how can messenger bots help us build relationships with our customers?
Yeah, I think first off, let's talk about how people are just they're just glued to their phones right now, right? So I've got my phone here, and I recently I presented at Social Media Week Austin, and I asked the audience, how many of you guys got, your Facebook Messenger app installed on your phone? And more than, I think probably 70% of them or 80% had, the app installed on it.
Yeah.
A lot of people were so used to, texting on our phones, WhatsApping, Line, Messenger to communicate with our friends, family, but also businesses. Did you know that 2 billion messages are sent every single month between businesses and consumers? So a lot of people are just like, oh, Messenger, Facebook Messenger is just for chatting with my friends and family, but that's not true, right? People use it for businesses as well. But what that also means is that the way that we communicate with brands and the way that we communicate with each other is kind of changing. In the past, we would have picked up our phones, we would have picked up I don't know, SMS, sent a pigeon out or something. But now we are just like, if anything goes wrong, or if I'm angry or something, or there's something wrong with the software that I bought, or I want to ask a question, I just message it out. I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll send a message. If they have a Facebook page, I'll send a message out. If they have a Twitter, I'll send a tweet out, whatever, right? So we're just used to doing this. Now, what we're trying to do as marketers is trying to take that over and just kind of understand that, okay, people are changing the way that they consume the media. People are changing the way that they communicate with each other. So let's put ourselves in that natural way of them, messaging and engaging, right? And so that's how we kind of have this whole idea of, oh, right, people are using Facebook Messenger. Let's start creating a channel that allows us to engage them further and deeper in Facebook Messenger. And so that's really how it helps us to build relationships with our customers. And also because, if a lot of people like to compare, messenger bot marketing with email marketing, right? There's this whole thing that's like, do we do one, do we do the other, or do we do both? Well, the answer is always do both, right? Because messenger bot marketing, no matter how awesome it is, it should never be the entire marketing strategy, right? It's just a tool in your entire marketing strategy. So if we think about that, it's like, okay, how can we, we know that the engagement rate is super high on messenger bot marketing right now, right? You send out a message, close to 70, 80, 90% actually, they actually open up your message, read it, and about 30% of them would click through. Compared to email marketing, that's 20, 30% open rate, 1 to 3% would click through. So that that high engagement rate also helps you to build that relationship with your customers, right? So yeah, just kind of a couple of reasons why it's just so awesome right now.
And I think you bring up a great point too, Chrystabelle, because one of the things, and I don't know if you want to say I'm guilty of it, unless I know who's calling me, I don't answer the phone because otherwise it's such a big distraction that if, and we get, spam calls and everything else, it goes to voicemail. But if
Mhm.
you message me, I'm much more likely to respond, even if it's a quick response like, oh, hey, thanks, I'll get back to you. And I think that's just kind of the way people are doing things. And especially with, like you said, with what's going on right now, it's an opportunity to really start using Messenger as well. And we've got Carrie watching on YouTube, and she agrees. She doesn't like to answer the phone as well. So this is where, and I agree with you 100%,
Mhm.
right? I think you have to have both, because if you don't have the email marketing and all of a sudden, because people get in trouble with their bots sometimes, now they have no way to communicate with their customer base because they're shut off.
That is absolutely true. That is so true. And I just kind of want you guys to realize this as well. Like, your messenger bot can only communicate with those who have communicated with your brand in the past, right? So they must have engaged with your bot for you to be even start a relationship with them. Whereas with email marketing, God knows, we know these marketers, there are some marketers out there who are buying email lists, right? They go out there, they pay a bunch of money, and then they start spamming everyone else.
Yeah.
So it's not possible to do that with messenger bot marketing. So I like that about messenger bot. I like that about Facebook Messenger, and I like that about Facebook being so strict about it, right? They're like, oh, you cannot add people to your bot, you cannot import, lists to your bot. So I love that about it.
Yeah, definitely. Jim, take away the next question.
So can you tell us, Chrystabelle, what are some ways you've been able to use messenger bots to build relationships for businesses, and maybe give us like some of the quick ways to maybe get some quick wins doing that?
Yeah, I think the most important thing to remember here is always ask yourself, as marketers and entrepreneurs, what kind of value can you actually bring, to the table, right? So what's the value behind whatever you're doing? Not just messenger bot marketing, but everything else, right, with regards to marketing. So for example, if you, right now you own a restaurant and you cannot, obviously, stores are closed, restaurants are all closed, no one can go out, but you don't want your customers to forget about you once you actually, once the, the restrictions have been lifted up, you want people to go back to your restaurant. So for now, for example, what you could do is maybe you could gift out, a couple of recipes, for example. If you're an Italian restaurant, right, a couple of recipes of some Italian dishes you can make at home. So what you could do is, hey guys, we are giving out a week, a free, cookbook, for example, like Italian cookbook, how to make the best pasta at home, right, with your kids. So you could actually give that free cookbook inside of Messenger, right? So once someone downloads that cookbook inside of Messenger, you're able to now continue the conversation with them, for a period of time, right? So for example, someone downloads that thing and you're like, oh, awesome. So within, tell me, what's your favorite, type of pasta dish, for example, right? So now, and then they're replying you as you ask them, right? So, and they're like, oh, awesome. And would you like me to also email you, some other tips and tricks on, cooking, for example, right? The best oil to use, the healthiest oil to use, for example. So these are different ways. And you can see how I'm just bringing in email marketing and I'm bringing in messenger bot marketing at the same time. We're just trying to do like an omni-channel marketing over here. So sometimes you might even want to add an SMS marketing, right? So would you like me to also SMS you, a daily recipe that you can do at home? Right. Of course, the dish is not going to be as good as when I cook it, but this way,
Right.
you won't forget about us. Once once you can start coming back to our restaurants, right? So that's one way. Another thing that we do as well. I literally just did this for a client who just went live on Facebook. So someone comments on their Facebook live, right? We instantly, the messenger bot pops up and like, hey, would you like to take this quiz? Because the whole Facebook live is about publicity, right?
Mhm.
So would you like to take this quiz to find out if you need more publicity in your business? Right. And so once someone takes that quiz, we can now follow up with them and say, hey, what do you struggle with, when it comes to publicity? Right. And then the person kind of share, do you struggle with this? Do you struggle with this? Like, do you whatever? Right. So as they answer, we are also kind of just tagging them. Right. So we know exactly what our customers are suffering, the problems that they're going through, so that we can give them the best solution. So those are some examples that you can use right now, with the whole situation right now. Yeah.
Chrystabelle, I know early on, and of course I'm telling you, I'm guilty of not keeping up with all the rules, but I know as at one time, so say for an example, I wanted to teach you a daily series of tips to, improve your marketing, maybe through like a video series. Can we still get them to opt into that and do those like 5 straight days of messaging them, or does that violate the Facebook rules now?
Yeah, so for those of you guys who don't know, Facebook has basically clamped down on those kind of messaging. So in the past, this was never I just got to kind of just caveat a little bit as well. It was never an option to begin with. Okay. So it was never an option to begin with by sending out daily messages about your, whether it's a Bible verse or it's about a daily tip, about your business, right? I could literally be sending out like, one of those tips about, oh, here's my podcast episode. Here's my new podcast episode. Here's my new YouTube video. It was never allowed, right? Just people just used it because they thought it was possible to use it, and Facebook never clamped down on it. But now Facebook has clamped down on it, and so therefore people are like, oh my God, it's no longer possible. It was never possible to begin with, right? So what we can do instead is, for example, if you run a 5-day challenge or a 5-day masterclass, right, or a 5-day video training series, that could fall under an event. Now, Facebook do allow you to send out notifications about a certain event, right? If someone signs up for an event, right? If they sign up for a 5-day challenge, that is an event, and you could send out notifications every single day about that event. Now, if you're talking about a daily Bible verse, for example, unfortunately, that does not fall under any of the messaging text that would allow you to send out those texts. What else can you do? Yeah. I think those are the things that you need to know.
No, that's a great example of that. So then I guess as an example, if we wanted to use bots for our show, we would make our show an event as opposed to. Yeah.
So what you could do actually is like get people to, hey guys, do you want to subscribe to, do you want to receive a reminder in your messenger when we go live this Sunday, right? And so Facebook just introduced this new thing called the one-time notification. Now, the one-time notification is meant to really help us to at least be able to interact with our audience, with our subscribers outside of the first 24 hours. So we didn't talk about this, but Facebook has this rule which only allows you to interact with a new subscriber or any subscriber within the first 24 hours or of every engagement they have with you, with your bot. Okay. So now what do you do outside of the 24 hours, right? You're like, oh my gosh, then why do I even bother, growing my subscriber list? Well, Facebook has just introduced this. It's called the one-time notification, which basically allows you to ask that person, hey, this thing is out of stock. Can I notify you when this thing comes, when it's back in stock again, right? So they can say, hey, notify me. Or I'm going live this Sunday. Can I notify you when I go live this Sunday? Yep, sure. Right. Or, whatever, right? My course is coming out, right? Like, can I notify you about that? Yes. All right. Perfect. So when it comes out, I can notify you about that. Now, this is like a one-time thing. So what happens when you have a weekly show is you got to say, hey, you literally you've subscribed to, you clicked on the one-time notification for this week's show. Now, I also need you to click the next week's show to be notified for next week, right? So you got to do this every single week. So every single week, I would encourage you to maybe send out an email newsletter and say, hey, would you like to be notified for this week's show? Right? It's not like a one-time thing and you do it for the rest of the entire show, okay? Right. So just be absolutely aware about that. Yeah.
Great points.
Okay. And Chris says, I love the recipe idea for restaurants during this time. Businesses who do things like that will grow when we get to the other side of this current world state.
Yeah, I think it's just important right now for every business, whether using this marketing channel or not, to just kind of think differently, right? What can we do? What kind of value can we offer right now? Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And I think we basically addressed this question. Is there anything we should be doing differently right now, right? Is there anything else you would want to add to that, Chrystabelle, or are you good?
I think we just got to be sensitive, right? With everything that's going on, we just got to be sensitive right now. You in your copy, in your bot, it's all about making sure that you're not, coming across like all you care about is your sale, because people are not thinking about that. To be honest, people are just like worrying right now. They've got kids at home. They've got to worry about like homeschooling the kids. Right. So we just, as marketers, we got to be so aware of all these things that's happening right now. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So Jim, you want to do the last question for Chrystabelle?
So what's your best tips on how someone would want to get started with messenger bots? And I would agree with you. I'm a big ManyChat fan. So, maybe like pick a product. I think ManyChat is great because you can start out with the free plan. What would you want to add to that?
Yeah, I think the first thing to ask yourself is, why are you even using this marketing channel, right? So whenever a new client comes to us, we always ask them, what is the goal and why do you even want this? Where does it fit within your marketing strategy right now? So walk me through your funnel, right? So how are people entering your funnel right now? How are you converting them? Where where are the holes that we can fill up with messenger bot marketing? Because sometimes you get so excited with a new marketing channel, you're like, oh, this sounds amazing, let's go do this, and you don't know why you're doing it. Like, what's your goal? Is it to get more customers? Is it to increase engagement, increase conversion? Is it just to provide better customer support? Because if that's the case, then it doesn't matter. Like, you don't have to worry about all the other metrics, right? So ask yourself, why are you even using this marketing channel? Why are you looking to using this marketing channel? And then ask yourself, where does it fit into my entire marketing strategy? Am I using it at the top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, or at the bottom of the funnel, right? Now, the next thing I would encourage you to do is to go check out a few messenger bots so that you have an idea of how it works, right? Because it's so hard to include something into your marketing strategy or build it if you have no idea how it works, or what's a good, what's a good messenger bot versus a bad messenger bot, right? And then I would also encourage you to kind of just remember that this marketing channel is so different from email marketing. So I don't like seeing long, huge chunks of copy in a messenger bot, right? I just don't. I understand sometimes when clients, they insist on it, and I'm like, okay, that's fine, like, if you insist on it. But my advice as a messenger bot marketer is always try to, emulate what we do with a messenger app, right? We type, we use GIFs, we use video, we use audio, we use short, copy, lots of emojis, for example. So always try to emulate the natural way of messaging someone.
Do you have any specific brands or companies that you would recommend people go check out as examples of good bots?
Can I use mine?
Sure.
So if you go on to chrysmedia.com, CHRYS media.com, there's a bot that you can just kind of play around with. It's our demo bot, so you can go check that out. But honestly, some of the bots that I've seen are pretty good. Are like Gary Vee has a pretty interactive bot. I like the way he does it. I like the style, the way in his GIFs and all that stuff. So Gary Vee has a really good bot. And yeah, I think for me that's pretty good.
Awesome. So Chrystabelle, tell everybody how they could learn more about you, how they could connect with you online.
Yeah, I would love it if you could go check out my podcast, Hack Your Online Business. You could also go follow me on Instagram. I'm pretty active on Instagram at This Is Chrys Tan. That is at This Is CHRYSTAN. And then follow me on Instagram. Let me know. Send me a message and let me know that you've watched this live. If you've got any questions about messenger bot marketing, you can also ask me in Instagram, and I'll be sure to reply you.
Awesome. And do you see, that actually brings up a good point. Do you see the point, because I know Facebook is talking about merging all these messaging activities one, where this will work across, WhatsApp, Instagram, and Facebook?
Absolutely. I think it's coming soon. I don't know when, because I think with everything that's happening right now, they might have just paused that plan for the moment. But yeah, with Instagram and WhatsApp, both brands being owned by Facebook, I do see, one day, Instagram allowing messenger bots as well as WhatsApp. There are some people already, using different types of bots for these channels. They're not the messenger bots. But yeah, I'm super excited when that happens, because that's going to open up a huge, whole new world of possibilities for us marketers.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you, Chrystabelle. Thank you, Jim. And we will see you guys next week for another edition of the Tim and Jim Show. And be healthy and safe, everybody.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Bye.